What's up, everybody, and welcome to Microtransaction in Review. I'm your host, Chris, and today I'm joined by the great deliverer himself, Liquid. Liquid, how are you doing this fine afternoon? Well,
Um, any time of the day, really. I'm well. You know what I'm saying? Just came back from Japan, a nice little Japanese trip. That's a joke. I didn't come from anywhere. Maybe actually, yeah. I guess I did virtually, if you will. But yeah. Other than that, I'm doing well. I've been playing. Well, for the people who don't know, I've been playing some Ghost of Tsushima. The Iki Island DLC dropped, so got done with that. Finished that up. What's up?
hopefully they do know. That's what the review's about.
Yeah, exactly. I figured they'd see the thumbnail, they'd see the title, it'd be there. It's a little bit of a spoiler. But other than that, I've also been playing that garden story I was telling you about on the Switch. And it started, like I said, it takes a little long to start off, but now that I'm in it, I'm like, oh, now I'm sort of getting what it wants me to do, and it's just starting to click a little more. And granted, probably a lot of it had to do with me skipping some of the dialogue, because I'm just like, dude, I just want to play. Just shut up and let me play. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was saying about it was too long. It just kept talking, and I'm like, shut up. We're a fruit. We shouldn't be talking to begin with. But whatever.
Like, don't put the grape in a corner, baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, guys, we just thank you all. That's good stuff. I don't know why I'm rethinking you. But to just let you know that me and Liquid, we decided to have a little bit of a goal. We want to have 50 followers by the end of this year, so that's what we're aiming for. So if you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe, share with your auntie, your uncle, your grandma, your grandpa. Just throw our video out there. It doesn't matter. Make them follow us. If you really like what we're putting down here, we also have a Patreon. For $1 more, you can get our extra content early, before it gets on the streets. You can get in that VIP section while the other people are just watching like, man, who's that guy? That guy could be you.
Right.
They should do all the dibbly doos. But you know what? Let's not lollygag. We already did all that. Liquid.
Yeah.
Ghost Tsushima.
Oh, yeah.
Give me your top level thoughts, and then we'll get into the...
So my top level thoughts here. So Ghost of Tsushima, for those who don't know, just to give you a quick rundown, for anyone who's new getting into it, so it's a third-person action adventure. It's a PlayStation exclusive. It follows your protagonist Jin Sakai. He's essentially defending his island, which is Tsushima Island. This is technically the start off. This is not the DLC yet, but he's defending his island from the first invasion of the Mongolian threat. Sorry, and you got that came out, what, I want to say 2 years ago, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And but now we have the Iki Island DLC. Iki Island is a island off the coast of Tsushima, where they're a little different. They're the clan that Jin Sakai represents. It's not really a spoiler. This is right in the beginning, but Jin Sakai's clan is not really allowed on the island. They're not really looked they're not looked really well upon. So he kind of has to stay kind of hidden from the citizens that are within that island. But also he wants to stop this Mongolian threat there as well. So you constantly have this sort of him battling, hiding who he is versus actually trying to help these people out, knowing the fact that if they find out who he is, it might be a little bit of a problem.
Sounds like he's Samurai Batman.
Yeah, what's funny? That's actually a really good way to put it, because he's a samurai, but yet he's also known as the Ghost. He has samurai background, samurai training. However, he sort of kills or defends his country or whatever, his island, very dishonorable, because the samurai way is not sneaking around killing people silently. That's not part of the code, the samurai code. So yeah, I guess you could call him a samurai Batman.
Hey, it's not bad to be called a samurai Batman.
No, that's a compliment.
Yeah, man. Everyone knows about, we're going to get to it later, about how the looks and everything feel about this game. But before we get into that, bro, tell me what you think about the sound. How's the sound in this game?
So the sounds, they're very great. I want to start with, let me dive into the music first. I'd rather get into the music a little bit. Yeah, so the music, the composers do they make great use of a lot of the same instruments that were in during this era, this feudal Japan era. I wish I could tell you the names of these instruments, but they're very Japanese, and I don't know. Just know that they were used by individuals of that era. Buddhist monks used to use a lot of these instruments as well. So it's they definitely did their research. You can tell they definitely did their history, where these instruments play a part to make it feel like you're sort of taken back into that time. You know what I'm saying? And then the music's also very tranquil. Like when you're traveling, let's say you're in the open field, it's an open world game. So for those who don't know, it's open world. And when you're traveling across the island, they do a great job balancing the feeling of the music. So you have your little guidance system, which is like the wind. You're kind of following the wind itself here. And when you're traveling across those vast open areas, you hear a little more flute, a little more somber, tranquil, soothing kind of sounds. Until you get into combat, then you start hearing more bassy drums. It really ramps up, so it really gets you in the mood for whatever scenario you're in. You know what I'm saying? There's even sometimes you'll hear there might be a mystery going on, and so then you hear the flute really mysterious, you could see the change, or you can hear you can hear the changes, and so it's done very well. If I can go into maybe voiceover work as well, the voiceovers. Fantastic. Yeah. Voiceovers fantastic. They were done tremendously well. Not just the main character, but even the NPCs. And I'm gonna get more into the NPCs a little later as well. But even their voice work, done really well. Nothing really to complain about. Everything stands out. As far as, and then I want to talk about more I guess the sound effects. So when it comes to the environment, they do a really well job making you feel like you're part of this environment, especially PS5. Part of the PS5 patch or update involved the 3D audio. So it just makes it feel like you're just more immersed in this world, and it just brings the world a little bit more to life. Whether that you hear birds in some trees, stuff like that. You might hear just people talking. There is one problem though that and it's rare. I don't want people to think that, this is broken. But sometimes once in a while you get a glitch or something where you might hear some repeated dialogue and stuff like that. Again, fairly rare, but once you hear, you're just okay, you already said that. Or sometimes you might hear something let's say a bird chirping, and then it just stops mid chirp, that bird's chirp did not sound like it fully ended over there. So just stuff like that. So again, very rare. It doesn't happen too often. It's just when it happens, it is noticeable because everything is so just beautifully done that when that one thing happens, just really it's really noticeable.
Nothing? Has anyone heard about
would you say it was enough to your immersion?
For a split second, but it snaps you right back in there. It's if it happens, it's literally for a second. Once you're back in it, once you're whether you're riding down the open world where you've seen the flower beds or whatnot, or you're on top of a mountain, you hear the waves crashing on the rocks and the shores. It's still you're there. So.
Do any of them talk about escaping the island?
From music to voice acting, was this new DLC? Did you feel that any of these voice the voice acting was less than, or was it comparable to the main series game?
Oh no, very comparable. You could tell that however they did it the first time around, same thing applies here. Nothing's changed, nothing's different, nothing's less. That's for sure. If anything, I'd say everything is more now. You're getting more of these sort of characters that you've already kind of seen before. They're just fleshed out even more now with the DLC. So I'd say you're just getting more of the same thing.
Okay, and if more of the same. Well, I don't know. Is more of the same not good? Would you get the sound of yay or nay?
It's a great thing. That's a high yay. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I was to prepare for this. I listened to some Ghost of Tsushima, the story, try to break it in, and that's one thing I felt instantly too. The music and the voice acting just immersed you in this world. And with new IPs, that's such a big thing to stick.
Oh yeah.
They do it almost instantaneously. They have you start because just watching, you start the game using your whole team. By the end of the beginning of the game, of the base game, you only need the edge.
Oh yeah.
And I'm wow, I instantly care about these characters. Did this game, spoiler free, have like a
Said if
moment
I
like that to
told them,
grip you right off
I'd
the
cut my
beginning,
throat.
or
I
was it like a
promise you, I
slower
won't get
build?
that chance.
Yes, I don't want to say what happens in the beginning. It's yeah, it is more spoiler, but it
There's a
is more of just
watchtower
like,
on the coast.
let's just say the first 5 minutes,
think
I was
that's
kind of
where
like
they
in
meet
panic,
their
like,
boat.
oh no, there's no way you're doing this now, this fast, like that kind of you kind of get that, you know what I'm saying, like right off the bat a little bit. So I'm not gonna spoil it as to what does happen, but yes, there are some characters where you do feel pretty closely, where you're just like, oh no, this is not happening, not.
All right, we're in
Yeah,
spoiler territory.
yeah, no, I'm
All
not.
right, all right.
I mean, it's like, yeah.
Look, let's we get the yay from you. All right.
Yeah.
So let's get into the meat and the potatoes, the gameplay,
Hmm?
like controls, the story. Tell me how it all felt on the sticks.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, just like I said earlier, the story follows this Jin Sakai defending himself from the Mongolian threat or whatnot. The story's excellent. I feel like a lot of people have been craving for something like this. So like, this feudal Japan era style of game. A lot of people thought we were gonna get it with Assassin's Creed at one point. We never did. I know, right? Depend on Ubisoft to give us something that we want. Whatever. Anyways, but
Maybe he'll show up with Tsushima.
he probably has a better
Give
chance.
fisherman called Sam Fisher.
It's a fisher named Sam. All right. But yeah, so follows Jin Sakai. The characters, as far as the gameplay, the characters feel very fleshed out. Although I would say one thing here, even though they're fleshed out, about their background, I found it sort of difficult to like really care about them.
Like new characters?
Yeah, like just seeing like just the NPCs that are following this protagonist that you're talking to constantly. I just found like even though they're great characters, I think they're built they're built fairly well as far as like their backgrounds and stuff like that. But I just found it difficult caring for them because you kind of only really truly see them or their background when you're doing their specific missions that don't really have anything to do with the story per se. Like it plays a part into the story because obviously it's all about finding kind of like that same goal, which is stop the Mongolian threat. That's kind of really where it comes from, right? So I don't when I see these characters, I'm like you kind of have to go out of your way. They're pretty essentially they're side missions. If you want to get more out of these characters, you kind of have to do the side missions. I want to get into like the progression system now because of that. So the side missions, you can take them on if you want, or you could just go straight story if you prefer. So you're given the choice. So I love that. I do like I enjoyed the pacing. I enjoyed the progression system. I think it's very well done, very solid. My only struggles with it though was sort of getting used to the controls again after not playing Ghost of Tsushima for like a year, and then coming back to the Iki Island DLC, just trying to get back into the swing of things. It's a little bit of a struggle there, and even though the controls in general, actually controlling Jin done very well, I would still prefer more of a lock-on system. There's no lock-on system, that's how it's been since Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, he kind of does it on his own. He looks at whoever he's kind of like closest to, which for the most part it works. Like it works better than I thought. That I would have expected it, to be honest with you. So like when I'm it doesn't break too much or anything like that. Sometimes there'll be a time where you're just like, oh, I want to hit this guy, but instead you're aiming at somebody else and you're just like, oh, that kind of sucks. But besides that, for the most part, controls, they feel great. Haptic feedback, DualSense controller. When you're pulling back on the bow, you feel it on your controller there. Same thing when you're just overall fighting or riding your horse, stuff like that. It's just you just feel the vibrations. Even each footstep, you could feel it depending on whether you're on grass or like solid like rock, or you could feel it like just hit a little differently every footstep.
That's pretty tight, actually. Do you feel like the game, like the lock-on system or lack thereof?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they built it like with it without it, and they did include a lock-in feature. Do you feel like it would break the game, or you think it'd be like a much needed upgrade?
I don't think it would be a much needed. I wouldn't say much needed because it works still well. I think that would be one of the last things I would just want, just for the sake of being able to just have that full control. And I get it. I think they took the whole point of it not being there is more of an artistic approach, because there's as little HUD as possible. So for those who don't know, like if you need to find your way somewhere, you like swipe on the touchpad, and then you see a little gust of wind that points you in the direction that you want to go. So that's a nice little feature that's done very well. Is just very different, just out there. And there's barely any HUD until you're like really into combat. If you're just just on your horse, like the HUD goes away, and it just feels like it's just you in the world. So and I think that's why the lock-on was kind of taken off, but I don't think it would hurt. I think it would be fine if there was a lock-on system, because oddly enough, whenever you're about to throw one of your kunai knives, or you're about to shoot anything, you know what I'm saying, because you have projectiles you can throw as well, and that has a lock-on system. Like it kind of shows a little X on the person you're aiming at. So just like, why couldn't you just do that for everything? But whatever, it is what it is.
Man, just bring that over.
Yeah, exactly. Just copy and paste.
Yeah, it's that easy.
That's how games are made.
Yeah, when they need to port a game, they just copy paste and just done.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man. So let's get into what I feel. First of all, so gameplay wise, is it a hot yay or a hot nay?
Yeah, gameplay is definitely a yay as well.
All right then. All right, we got 2 yays on the board. See, something that I feel like might not get a yay is the graphics. Just kidding, dog. Bro, I know everything about graphics has been said about this game, Liquid, but I really would like to hear what you think.
Okay, so the just visuals, graphically stunning. Like there's nothing less than stunning about this game. I mentioned the open fields, the flower beds. It looks beautiful. Now the game runs in 60 frames. Opposed, I believe it was 30 is what it was locked on before. But it's a solid 60 frames right now in 4K. So when the flowers move, they look a little more natural. The movement looks a little more smoother in the wind. So you'll notice little things like that. Now, granted, it's not going to be. I played it on PS5 compared to let's say a PS4 Pro. The graphic difference not terribly. Like, there's not a huge gap, is what I'm trying to get at here. You know what I'm saying? Graphically, it's still pretty good. There's nothing, you're not getting too much out of it, besides maybe the actual frame rate. The frames per second seem to be the real boast here. So that's what you're really going to see. What's really going to stand out. And I mentioned earlier the waves crashing against, like, the rocky shores or, like, a mountain. Dude, right in the first 5 minutes, I stood on top of a mountain and I can see just the waves and the horizon in the distance. And I stopped and just looked. I'm like, yo, look at this. Like, this is nice. So it looks awesome. Very detailed. Like besides the sound that I was talking about, how amazing it sounds with the water crashing against the rocks, seeing it is just as good, if not even better. So that's awesome. The photo mode. It has a photo mode that allows you to change the environment. So you can change the time of day, the weather. You can add, like fireflies. You can add, all kinds of different things, all kinds of filters that just make it pop as well. I'm gonna try to put that somewhere in the video so that way, people get a good idea of what that photo mode is all about. So yeah, you get all that, and it just, it just looks so stunning. I think visually is probably the biggest thing about this game, is just how beautiful the game looks, and even the character designs, like the character designs, the base, like the base camp, stuff like that, very detailed, like highly detailed stuff. It's you don't even have to ask me about the yay. Like that's a resounding yay when it comes to the visuals, because it's just phenomenal.
Liquid.
Yeah.
If that is your real name.
Oh.
How many times did you actually use this photo mode?
Oh, I'll be honest with you, I didn't use it at all. Like I'm happy you brought that up here, because yeah, I'm not a really big fan. Like I feel like the photo mode is kind of like done under the radar. Like I personally don't use it. I don't really care for it. I just want to play my game. That's kind of where I'm at. Like if the photo mode was there or not there, I don't care. But the fact that it is there, and you can, mess around with these things, I think it's a cool feature. Like, I'd rather it be there than not be there, even though for me personally, I could care less. But, so yeah, I think I've used it once, and that was only to unlock a trophy. It was use photo mode. So I literally just went through it, and then I'm like, oh, cool, got the trophy, and I stopped. So yeah, one time.
I like that there's somebody at Sucker Punch that's just like, hey, we did this.
Right.
You gotta use it at least one time if you want to try.
For the B-roll, I'm gonna try to see if I could utilize it a little more, so that way people can see the photo mode while we're recording this.
Oh, are we seeing it right now?
Hopefully.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's nice. That's some serious photo mode.
And Japan's so nice this time of year.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh man, you know they had the Olympics there.
Oh, that they did. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
U.S. U.S. #1 now. You see the headband? They did win. They got the most medals, the most golds.
Well, that. Oh man, you know, hey, this is not about America's greatness. We can talk about that another time.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
You know, let's get into something else that's fun.
Yeah.
That's this game. Tell me what you thought about this game, Liquid. Like, how did it make you feel?
So it made me it made me feel like a badass. Like when you unlock these I guess you can call them finishers, but just some of the sword play. It's very refined here. It gives you a little sense of Bushido blade, which back in the day that was like on PS1 if I'm not mistaken, where it's like one hit kind of kills. It's very well though, like very well done. Like I said in the beginning, it was a little difficult getting into, but once I started getting back into, like, it just started, you know, it's like I don't want to say riding a bike, because I feel like riding a bike you can get on instantly. It's more like getting back on skates. Like when I get back on skates, I'm gonna be stumbling for a little bit, you know what I'm saying, like losing my footing a little bit, but once you're in there, you're in there. So you know, being able
to half pipe, no problem.
Yeah, there you go, exactly.
No problem.
So like that part's great, you know what I'm saying. The sword play is great. The techniques and different abilities are also awesome. I feel like a lot of people, me personally, I think in the original game I didn't utilize a lot of the secondary stuff. When I say secondary, I mean the kunai knives, the smoke bombs, for example, the sticky bombs. On this playthrough,
oh, you talking sticky bombs?
Oh yeah,
talking my language over
oh yeah, there are sticky bombs, like little sticky grenades. I think they use tar to make it stick to people. So if I'm not, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's what they use. But I could be wrong. But yeah, there's sticky bombs, you know. So once you start using like all the tools you have at your disposal, you know, taking out camps get easier. You know, taking down bosses get easier. And don't get me wrong, even though the bosses taking them out, you know, that's cool and all, there's every once in a while you get in that 1v1 and everybody just like, you know, this is their fight, and it's just, you know, you're just dueling. It's just you and the other guy, mano y mano, just sword versus sword, and that's when it really gets intense. Like that's when it's just like, because those battles they're nothing to sneeze at. They're pretty difficult. There's been those battles where I would like die like 2 to 3 times at one point, maybe even more.
Really?
Yeah, because
like almost like boss fights.
That's legitimately how they sort of do their boss fights, essentially. Like that is the boss fight, because remember how I mentioned the secondary, the kunais and everything like that. All that is gone. It's just sword and you versus the individual. That's it. And even setting it up, like the way it starts is so awesome, because like the guy's like, he has his sword ready, and then, you know, Jin goes down to his sword and they just leave it like he just pops it right out the sheath, like just like click, and then that's it. You start fighting now. And that was like, it's on. You know? So, dude, the setup for it is awesome. It's so good. It's so good. And then like okay.
I like to picture in the background your homie and their homie's like, bro, don't pop that thing, bro. Don't pop that thing,
bro.
And he's like, I'm gonna do it. I popped it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Like you, and it's just like you got all your homies like behind you, and then all the other enemies, they're like all just in a big circle, just giving you your space, and it's just you versus him, and it's just like, or him or her.
Yes.
But you know, and yeah, it's just it's so cool. Like that's, I think, some of the coolest part. They're just called duels, and you know, and we're not talking about Yu-Gi-Oh here. That's like some of the best gameplay.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, have you ever walked up to someone in your head, been like, it's time to?
Well, that's what you do. Like, so in the game, there's a lot of these side, because like the story has its own duels, but then if you want to just go off the beaten path, and you can find like there'll be like a legendary swordsman that's claimed this area, and you have to duel him if you want to, like, you know, either liberate that area, stuff like that. So and you don't have to do them. They're like more like side missions, but you get cool techniques, you know what I'm saying? Like you'll learn different like that's how you start to learn and unlock also different abilities. So overall, dude, when you factor that in, also on top of everything that I mentioned earlier, dude, it's just such a recipe for success. It's so beautiful.
Okay, now do you feel like this DLC expands upon
up the main road.
this dueling system, this gameplay thing, or is it more of the same?
More of the same. If anything, I think they kind of brought it back a little bit. I feel now. I haven't done all the side objectives yet, so don't quote me on that. I can't say for sure. I know the original game had plenty of duels to really sink your teeth into. They were awesome. I think this one's gonna have a few as well. I like I said, I think so far with the amount of time that I've played, I've gotten into 2 personally. I think there's more. I'm not 100% sure.
That's pretty cool though, man. I like that there's a legendary swordsman in charge of this town. Bro, you're about to get these.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Oh, that that's good because I think about it like as someone who hasn't played Ghost of Tsushima today, just funny. I was gonna play it, and then like next gen hype took me over, and my friend was like, "Oh, you want to play Halo? Here, borrow my Xbox." I never use it. Then I was just like,
okay,
hey, let's man.
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima got pushed to the side.
I gotcha.
I was like, let's reacclimate. And you make it sound like I missed out.
Dude, I think you would really like this game. You would really enjoyed it. Like I said, the combat system, it is very time based. You got to make sure your timing is good because like one of my favorite things to do in the game is like I'm taking out a bunch of enemies and there's a guy who's about to swing and it uses that same sort of Batman Arkham Asylum combat system or Spider-Man even and yeah, like let's say they're about to swing at me and then you'll dodge and then it goes into like a little slow motion and you'll like stab them like behind while you like go turn around, dodge, and then stab them behind your back, like just put your blade in and then they'll like just collapse and you're just like, oh dude, it's so good. And then you got abilities where you just like you press like 2 buttons and it uses like a certain like a special gauge and you'll like take out like 3 guys like slice like real fast, like oh dude, if you're a fan of like samurai film or samurai anime or anything like that, dude, just anything samurai, dude, you should definitely consider playing it.
Bro, maybe on the PS5. Okay, now I'm gonna ask you and then I'm gonna get into a little more of the nitty-gritty of the story around it. Okay. So I'm gonna assume the liquid.
Maybe wait on the roadside.
Are we talking about overall right now?
Most people would
I'm talking about
the fun. Oh, gameplay. Fun factor. I mean, definitely fun. I keep coming back to it. So yes, yay.
Let's get you home.
It's a hot fun boy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The funnest of times.
Hot fun boy summer. Or fall. Fall. Whatever. All right, I'll workshop that.
Yeah.
I got a workshop over there. So liquid.
Yeah.
Now this to play on the PS5, I'm assuming you upgraded from that. So how much did it cost you to play this game?
I'm glad you brought that up here. So the DLC itself or expansion is $20. If you do want the upgrade to PS5, it is $9.99 upcharge. So overall $30.
Now, do you feel after completing? I assume that you platinumed this game.
I platinumed the original game. I'm still getting trophies for the Iki Island.
Okay. So do you paid the $30, right?
I paid the full 30, yes.
Do you feel like it was worth $30?
For me, yes, just because I love the whole adaptive triggers. Like if it was just the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback of the DualSense, because I really love the DualSense. I think that right there just sells it for me personally, and I do like the
that alone is worth $30.
No, $10. The $10 upcharge, yes. The $20 for the Tsushima DLC for the Iki Island DLC, 100% it's worth it. Absolutely, I think it's worth it.
Okay.
The $9.99, I'd be a little hesitant on it only because if you have a PS4 and let's say you don't have a PS5 yet, dude, you're not missing out too much. Like it's not gonna break anything. Like you're still gonna get a fantastic experience.
Okay, now we're talking a little more to general. I don't know about how the loading screens are compared to PS4, PS5. Was it a fast quality of life difference?
Absolutely. Fast traveling, whenever you pop into from point A to point B, it's almost instant. Like it's like it compared to before, and even before it was quick. It wasn't nothing to sneeze at. It was like I think before it was like under 10 seconds when you would do it.
So you're not having like a Destiny load time.
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. So you would you recommend this to somebody like thing essentially $90 for this experience?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Would be 90. 20 for the DLC, the 10 for the upgrade.
Right, and 60 for the game. Well, I think the original game went down in price. If I'm not mistaken, I think now you can get the whole shebang for I want to say 80 or 70 now.
Okay.
I think 70 actually. I think more 70 is where you can get it. So it's a little more cheaper, you know what I'm saying, now because you're not, technically an early adopter of the original game. However, though, like yeah, I think it's all worth it. I think it's worth the price tag. This is that first party Sony experience that you're gonna get. You know what I'm saying? So like it's definitely worth the money. It definitely stands out. It's made by Sucker Punch, so if you're a fan of the Infamous series, I think you'll also like this. I'll be honest with you, when it comes to Infamous, speaking of that, the controls, I think they're a little weird on Infamous, especially because like let's say you're on a wire, he's all like, like he's like tiptoeing on a wire and stuff like that. And this game is very similar. It's the exact same thing, but like I've always seen that, and it felt kind of jarring to me, but you get over it quickly. It's not that
I think
serious.
they do a better job at Infamous too. I know we're gonna sidetrack, but Infamous, like you don't really tiptoe. You're just gliding the whole time.
Oh yeah,
That does look silly.
you're right.
Fix them too. So all the quote unquote controversy with these updated things that we'll talk about on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys care, because we really need to talk about this PlayStation
I'm glad I
situation
could help.
compared to Smart Drive and
How did
Xbox.
you find us?
I digress. That's a conversation for another day.
Ronin. After you left, I approached him myself.
You think
That was
this?
brave. Ronin
You
are
think
dangerous,
this
unpredictable.
elevates Ghost of Tsushima overall,
compares to
or
the
do you
fear
think it's
of
just
losing your
like
child.
not a
I
negative?
didn't
Because I
think
assume that
I'd
you
ever
rate Ghost of
see it
Tsushima
again.
highly.
Mm-hmm.
You gave everything yay.
Yeah.
Is it more of the same, or does it elevate upon? Like, does it enrich the entire story more, or is it just more of the same?
I think it's more of the same. You're just getting more Ghost of Tsushima. I don't think it's really changing too much of anything. I have to. So I'm going to give you two things here. I know we didn't really want to get too much into it, but one thing I did want to mention is that technically, I do wish this was a standalone DLC. I think getting into it is a little fairly difficult. Like especially if you haven't played it in a long time. For example, technically the DLC you can't go into it or activate it until you've hit chapter 2 in the main story in Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh.
So me, like, cause I know you mentioned xCloud, I wish there was something they did better with, because I haven't played Ghost of Tsushima in like a year. So when I go back to it, my save game, I'm like, wait, is it there? Is it not there? I don't know. I had to find kind of like a late save game. Luckily, I was able to find one. It was a bit of a pain to get into it, but I was able to find one. Was able to get into the DLC, fairly quickly, or after that. So I at least I still do wish it was a kind of a standalone DLC just to prevent stuff like that from for others. But I will also have to give it praise because I don't think this is like a half-ass DLC. I've played like DLC packs, like I've played the Horizon Zero Dawn DLC. I've played, like, going back to Infamous, the Infamous Second Son DLC, and a lot of it feels like, instead of adding more story, even the Arkham series, it's more of like, oh well, we've added now a wave of, you could just do like a horde mode essentially, where you're fighting waves of enemies. Like that's essentially the DLC, and they kind of like tie it into the story in some way, like, oh yeah, now in the story there's a competition going on in this certain area, and it's an arena, and it's wave based. It's like a lot of DLCs do the same thing. Spider-Man did something similar to that too, and I hate when games do that, because I'm like, it's just a quick cash grab. It feels like it doesn't feel genuine.
Yeah.
This is not like that, so I do have to give it praise for that.
Okay, because this is essentially part of Sony's fall.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like it's starting the fall for Sony on the right foot?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's fantastic. Like, we're gonna get these. Technically, this is the first quote unquote director's cut, right? So
Yeah.
So yeah,
forgot about
yeah.
that.
So that's another thing. I know they're calling it director's cuts now. It's just glorified DLC. That's really all it is. But it's I think it is starting it off on the right foot. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, Sony doesn't have much to show. There's a showcase coming up, so hopefully we'll be seeing something from them. But I think this is a
Dragoon baby.
oh man, the dream. I think this is a nice little appetizer, though, to sort of like hold us off for a little bit longer. I do plan on going back to it, to try to clean up these trophies, especially.
All right. Well, guys, that has been our official review of the Ghost of Tsushima. I think overall we can both agree that it gets a resounding yay.
100%.
Liquid, thank you so much. I know you carry the rings. You put the time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears into this review. We're very thankful for you. And guys, I know what you're saying. Like, oh man, I'm an Xbox boy. I can't play along with you guys. Well, you don't have to worry about that because if you got a Game Pass, you got the next game, and the next game we're playing is Gears of War 5. Now, me and Liquid are gonna have a little co-op fun. We're gonna have get into the multiplayer. This Hive Buster that I've been hearing great things about, we're gonna get into.
Hmm.
And Liquid, bring us out.
But yeah, love each other. Take care. Above all else, be cool.